Hello, welcome back to my series on AWS and I. This is episode 4 of this series. Once again, my name is Damilari Odulesi. So today, like I told you earlier, we're going to be creating IAM users, which is something important. So there are two major ways, but for me, I have three major ways here. Number one is because I've opened IAM user recently, so I have it under my recently visited. So if you don't have it here, so you can either come here, click on services, and then look for IAM user. I've forgotten. I think yeah, I think it's supposed to be under identity this place. I want to be sure. Yeah, it's under security, identity, and compliance. So you can see IAM here. So you click on it, but most times you might not remember. So just come here and just type IAM. So which I'm going to do. So I'm going to launch my IAM. IAM means identity and access management. So under identity and access management, we have IAM, we have the users, we have the user groups, we have the roles, we have policies, and we have identity providers and all that. Now, user group means there is a particular group name which you have determined the policies for that group. So any user you add to that group will automatically take up the policy and the permissions that are attached to that group. Now, for user means each users, of course. This role is for services. By the time we get there, we start talking about it. And policies, these are policies which you give as permission to each users. So here we're just going to be creating IAM users. Of course, I have some users which I've created earlier. So I'm going to create new users. So I click on users. So when you click on users, these are users I have already. So I'm creating new users. So you click on create user. So click this, create user. So here it asks for the username. So let me just call it uh, AWS demo. Let me just call it AWS demo, something like that. You can give it any name you want. So if I want this user to have access to AWS console, I mean this dashboard, I have to click this provide user access to the AWS management console. If I do not click this user will only be able to access this account through the CLI, which is a command line interface. That means it has to be through codes and all. So now under this, you can see specify a user identity center, which is recommended. I want to create an IAM user. We recommend that you create IAM users only if you need to enable programmatic access, so which is something I want to do. So I want it to have programmatic access through access keys and all. What this means is that this user will be able to have access to both the console and will be able to have access through the CLI. So this is what I want. So here you can determine your password for this user. So it's either you use auto-generated or you use a custom password. So if you want click custom password, you can put in your password. If you use auto-generated, it's going to generate a password for you automatically, and then you can show. If I click this, so it's going to generate the password for me, which I'm not going to do here. So user must create. Now, if I click this, it means user must create password at next sign in. So if I check this, it means this user, after creating it, once this user wants to sign in to AWS account, the user will be prompted to change the password. After entering the password that I've created here, the user will have to create a new password for itself. But if I don't want, I can uncheck it. I'm just going to uncheck it for this demo, but you can check it for yours and all. And then you can, of course, if you want to, for instance, I just want to create a custom password. So let me just call it password 123 at just something, just call the password. So I'm just going to delete. I'm going to delete this IAM user anyways. So just for the demo, so you click next. So now it's asking me for the permission. So which permission am I specifying for this user? So if I want to have this user to my user group, which I spoke about earlier, so it will list other user groups which I have. I don't have any user group on this account. So it would have listed them and then asked me to attach this user to that group. If I'm not doing that, there's other way, which is copy permission. It means I can copy the permissions which I have used on other users, so it will just copy them and add those permissions to this user. But what I want to do here is to attach policy directly. And this is what I want you to do if you are just opening your account, because this IAM user that we are creating, I want you to be like your admin IAM user. So I want you to add this to it, this permission to it, which is administrator access. Now, what this administrator access means is that this IAM user has permission to everything on your account except for the things which are specifically for the root users, like deleting the account and all. So when you look at this policy statement, it says the effect is allow. So you're allowing this permission allow this user to take what actions. Star, when you see star like this in coding, it's talking about all. So it means this user can take all actions on all resources. So that's why that's why it's an administrator access. So, and which is what I'm going to attach to this user. So I want to make this user an admin IAM user in that sense. So I click next. So this is a review. This is the username, and this is the permission I had the administrator access. I can add tag if I want to, but I'm not adding tag. A tag is just like maybe the name and then what you want to call it, just something like that. So, so I create. So after that, you create the user. You just click create. So you can see the user has been created. Now your user has been created. You have your password here, and this is the username. This is your console. So this is the console for the user. So you have to have this. These three details are very important. You have to keep them. You have to keep them. So there are two ways to keep them. Is either you write them out for yourself or you download the .csv file and keep that file. So that's just that. So then I can just return to the user list. So continue without viewing or downloading console password. Now it's telling me that if I don't do this, I won't be able to see. If you continue, you cannot retrieve the password in the future. Instead, you must create a new password. So it means I must have this password with me, else I won't be able to have it again. So because I understand what I'm doing anyways, so I can just click continue. But you should not do that. Try and download this .csv file before you continue. So let me just click continue. So I can now see the new user I created now is here, which is AWS demo. So you can see. So this is the user. I've not used the user yet, so that's why last activity is still dash, because it's not yet used. So this IAM user is what we're going to be using for. Is what you're going to be using to then log in the next episode, when we are going to be going into other services on AWS. So this is episode 4 of this series. So I'll see you in the next episode where we start talking about some other services of AWS. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to follow me on my social media handles. This is AWS and I. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.